Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Crazy Girl Podcast. My name is Jordan Anderson. I will be your host, and today is a very exciting day for me because this is something that I feel like I'm very passionate about. And so this podcast, we're going to be focusing on breakups, but also coming out of that and flourishing and glowing up. Becoming who you want to be is the ultimate revenge. Leveling up is the ultimate revenge. And I know we want to be petty, and I know that I especially had an era or a little slot in time where I used pettiness to my advantage. And basically my breakup consisted of me stop talking to him. And then he never really reached out again. And the relationship was a bit rocky because we did break up in the middle, and then we got into like a situationship for a year, which was crazy. Don't do that. Learn from my lesson. And then at the end of it, I just decided I had went back to him until I hated him. And then I decided I didn't want to be with him anymore. And I think some people have to go through that. I think some people have to, and that's just not only with relationships. Sometimes we have to go back to something over and over and over again until we absolutely cannot stand to look at the person or to experience something ever again. And that can go for jobs as well. We can just go back until we hate it and we just cannot stand it anymore and we just can't take it anymore. So I think that's a good lesson to learn. I think being without somebody and showing them that you can become a whole nother person without them, it's like, damn girl, like where has this been, So recently, I do just want to give a little recap of my life recently. So April 1st was my birthday. My birthday is April Fool's Day. I love being a fool's child. Just kidding. I don't know why I said that, but anyways, yes, April 1st is my birthday, and that was super fun. We went out and we went to the beach for a weekend. It was a good time. And my ex's birthday is a few days after mine. And obviously, like, we've been broken up for, when was it? December was a year. So more like Christmas was a year. So, a year and a half, almost, pretty much like a year and a half. And I want to be like, I don't think about it, or like I want to say that I don't think about him on his birthday, right? And I don't care, or something like that. But for some reason, I feel like I thought about him more on his birthday this year than I did last year. And a big part of it, I think, was also because I grieved him and our relationship during the relationship, and like being with him. When I was with him, I was grieving him, which is like weird to say because it's kind of ironic. But I did not see us progressing at a certain point in our relationship, and so I started to grieve who I thought he was, who I thought I was, and who he wanted me to be. Because that was a big factor, was that I was not the one that he wanted. And he wasn't the one I wanted, but I for sure was not the girl that he wants. And I don't know about now, I haven't talked to him in a year and a half, but at the time, I definitely was not the girl that he wanted. And you cannot become somebody for somebody else, because you will never be satisfied with that version of yourself. And maybe there is a version of you that fulfills some sort of idea that somebody might have in their head, some sort of person that they want you to become to please them or to make them happy. And unfortunately, you just have to say, I am not that person for you. And I promise you there's somebody out there who wants to steep to that level. And I promise you there's somebody out there who will fulfill that for them. But you will never be satisfied if you lessen who you are for somebody else. So you cannot fit a mold that has no place for you in it. There is no mold that is strong enough to hold you when you are unsatisfied. You cannot mold into somebody who doesn't even really want you there. And that's something that I had to learn. And if somebody doesn't want you as you are, what makes them think that they will ever be satisfied? What makes you think that they will ever be satisfied? I don't know. There's just a lot to learn. And I learned a lot from that relationship. So I wanted to talk about glow ups and breakup glow ups because I feel like this year and a half, 2024 especially, was such a transformative year for me. And I'm not just saying that. Genuinely, I feel like a completely different person. And I feel like a lot of people say this after breakups because breakups really are a chance to redeem yourself. Breakups really are a chance to come out of the woodworks and create who you've always wanted to become because you're not held back by anything anymore. You're not being put, like I said, into a mold, and you're not forming to somebody else's life. You can create your own now. You can create who you wanted to be and who you've always wanted to be. So I really think, and I know that it's hard, and I know breakups can feel like your life is being stripped from you and like your world is genuinely ending because you've built your life around this person. This person's become your life. They've become your livelihood in some cases, I'm sure. And once you don't have that anymore, and you don't have the path, and you don't have your future anymore, because what do you do when you're with somebody for a long time? They're your future. You envision that with them. But when you don't have that anymore, and you don't have a plan, and you're in this weird limbo situation where you're like, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing now because they're gone. And now I'm here alone. And some of us might not have any family or friends to go to. And we can look at it from a perspective of, I'm lonely. I have nobody to go to. I'm stuck. I'm in a rut. Like, this is terrible. Great. Right? And trust me, I was there and I felt that. But I have learned in this past year and a half that shit will happen to you, and life is shit sometimes, and things happen that we don't want to happen, and things that is going to be life forever. Things are always going to be shitty. And the thing with that is you can look at it from the perspective of, this sucks, like this is terrible, like I don't want to experience this, or we can use it as an opportunity. There is always opportunity in things that might negatively affect us, but we can look at it from that perspective. We can look at it from a negative perspective, or we can look at it as an opportunity. And have you ever heard somebody say, like, when somebody tells me that they're that somebody broke up with them, or like their relationship ended, like I say congratulations. I say congratulations because congratulations, now you can become the person you've always wanted to become. And if they didn't want you, you do not want a person that doesn't want you. Straight up. Like, you do not want that person. Especially a man. So, anyways, let's set the tone for our ultimate revenge. Thank you, girl. Siri just told me what time it is. But let's set the tone for our ultimate revenge, which is what we're going to be starting with. So, to set the tone, I would like to start with the recent birthday that my ex just had, and just kind of birthdays in general, because it's weird. And the first birthday that I had was 4 months after, like 3 months after our breakup. And honestly, I was thriving. I felt like a new woman. I was like, yes, let this man not be in my life anymore. Like, let me just have like a good, chill, relaxing, peaceful birthday, because men bring so much chaos into your life sometimes. And I really felt that way. Like, I really felt like that birthday was great. I had a great birthday. 21 was the birthday that I turned after I broke up with him, which was iconic for me. But, and honestly, I kind of forgot that it was his birthday last year. But I turned 22 a few days ago, and then it was his birthday 2 days after mine. And I just don't know. Like, if you have experienced this before and you like have had an ex where their birthday is like right after yours, or their birthday just happens and you're like, this is weird. Like, this is really, really weird. Like, I feel just like super weird. Like, this is so weird. And it's hard for me to explain like how it feels, because I don't even really know, because I don't miss him and I don't grieve this anymore. But I just feel like I want to know what's going on. Like, I want to know what's happening. Tell me what's happening, you know? And he doesn't have a public Instagram, which is like, because I do. And it's like, that's so annoying. Nothing's public. I mean, honestly, I was the one that blocked him on everything. So there's that. But I don't know. Like, I just want to see what's going on. And he unfollowed all of my best friends, and all the friends that I had followed him. So that's okay, though. It's for the best. And trust me, you do not want to be creeping on that man's profile. You do not want to be looking at their social media. So it was definitely for the best that I blocked him and moved on. And at the time, I felt like liberated. I was like, yes, I'm blocking him. Like, this is great. Perfect. Amazing. I'm unfollowing him, you know, whatever. I don't know why I felt so weird on his birthday. I don't know why. Like I said, last year I didn't feel this way. So, I don't know. And I think we don't have to like be linear about growth or healing either. Nothing has to be linear. Nothing has to be like, oh yes, like, so I felt that way last year. Like, now I'm not even going to think about it. And I don't want to feel like I'm doing something wrong, I guess, or if like something's not going correctly, or if I'm not doing something correctly. I don't know. But like I said, growth is not linear, and I can't really blame myself for that, because this is life. This is life, and shit is going to happen. People are going to happen, and things are going to happen to you. And I don't have to make it negative. It doesn't have to be a negative experience, basically. So, but yes, if you felt that way before, I'm just letting you know, it's not weird. It feels weird, but it's not out of the ordinary. Like, your issues, your problems are not unique. They're not different. Like, people have experienced this stuff before. So I just keep reminding myself that, like, this is not different. This is normal. People go through this all of the time. And I'm going to make it out the other side. And a lot of the times I feel like people are right. Like, people are like, in order to get over someone, you have to get under another. And obviously not that graphic. I'm not trying to like be like, go have relations with somebody else. But what I am saying is, like, sometimes you need to meet someone new to like fully move on. In my opinion, that's maybe just how it has to go sometimes. So, you know, I'm not blaming myself, because I don't know anything else. I've only ever had one boyfriend, and also my first love. So there's that too. But I do want to just hit the reset button. And that's what I think we have to do as an introduction. I think when somebody breaks up with us, or when we're in a relationship that doesn't last, we have to hit the reset button. And that doesn't mean right away. Like, we can grieve and we can moan and groan and do all the sad shit. But don't let it go on for too long. Don't let life beat you down to where you cannot get back up again. Because there's no point in that. That's a waste. Don't waste your life away. especially for somebody who doesn't want you. So let's hit the reset button. It's time to glow up. It's time to lock in, because we're about to change our lives. That's how I felt. When I broke up with him, when I stopped talking to him, I literally, genuinely decided that I was going to change and decided my life was going to be different. And once you decide and once you envision it for yourself, there's no reason why something can't hold you back. Something will hold you back. I worded that weird. There's no reason why something will hold you back, because you are the creator of your reality. So we're going to become unrecognizable, might I add. That is the best part of this. That's literally the best part. And I don't mean like physically, yes, physically, but I mean like mentally and socially. And like, if that person talked to you to where you are at, the person where you are right now, they would not even know what the fuck's going on, because they don't know who you are. And that's something that I take so much pride in right now, because when I was with that person, I was a completely degraded, low energy version of myself. They did not want me to be who I am. They did not want me to be who I am. They wanted me to be less than I am. And I hate that. Like, you guys know the Alice in Wonderland quote, you lost your muchness. That's how it felt. I wasn't muchy anymore. There wasn't much to me. And that's what I need in my life. I need somebody who appreciates my muchness and who loves that, because I'm always going to be like this. Like, I'm always going to be the person who's just like a lot. And maybe not in a negative way, but just like, we got a lot going on here. We got a lot of energy. We got a lot of things to say, basically. And that's a great thing, because that's who I am, and I've created that. But that person does not know that version of me. They don't know him. I mean, they don't know her. They do not know her. He does not know me. And like I said, I take a lot of pride in that, because it takes a lot of effort. It has taken me a lot of effort, a lot of nights, a lot of tears to get to where I am today and to become unrecognizable. But also, you have to decide that you're willing to do that and you're willing to take that step. Because like I said, it's not fucking easy. This is not something that's going to happen overnight either. So we're going to go through stages of a breakup, because grieving is hard. Grieving somebody is hard, and it's confusing. And breakups are very uncertain, especially when you're young and you've never been through it before, and maybe this person's your first love or your first relationship. It's very confusing, and I want to go through the stages that I've figured for myself, that I went through, to maybe help somebody understand a little bit clearer on what they might be going through as well. So stage 1 is going to be the breakdown. We're going to break down to break through, right? So our breakdown consists of a lot of emotional chaos and a lot of grieving. But every breakup is different, right? So like I said earlier, I grieved during the relationship. But I also decided in my brain that the relationship was over. So, there's a lot that goes into that. And there's a lot of different details and a lot of different relationships out there. But we're going to grieve. We're going to grieve that person. We're going to grieve who we thought we were with them. We're going to grieve who we thought they were, because they didn't turn out how we thought they were. And we're going to grieve being together and having them at the drop of a hat, being able to instantly get that instant gratification, get that instant communication with them. We're losing that. We're losing a friend. And I think that was the hardest part for me, was that I didn't have that friend anymore. Because you can have a relationship with somebody, you can love somebody, and you can have a connection, but you're losing a friendship. And friendship breakups are, in my opinion, harder to deal with than relationships. But, you know, if you loved that person and it wasn't just like a small relationship, you built a friend in them, and you built like a best friendship with them. And that's where it's really hard. I think that's where it becomes unbearable. And it becomes more confusing than we thought it was. Because we can get over the heartbreak, we can get over the, you know, like I want to have sex, like I want to have that love. We can get over that quickly. But then it's that companionship. It's that bond that we created. And that's where it's really, really difficult to understand. But I'm sure a lot of us have been through friendship breakups before. And if you haven't, lucky you. But also there's a lot of learning that comes in with a friendship breakup. There's a lot of learning. And you understand how to be a better friend. And I think that can come out of relationships too. How to be a better partner, how to be a better friend for that partner. Because it is a friendship. At the end of the day, you are creating a friendship with somebody, and you're creating a companionship. You're creating a life together. And what is a life without fun? What is a life without friendship? What is a life without companions and love that you share with one another? So we're going to go through the grieving process. We're going to go through the grief of who they once were. Because people put on a show. People will always put on a show. They will always perform. And unfortunately, we do too. We want them to like us. We want them to understand us. We want them to think that we're a little bit better than we actually are. Especially if we're dating. You know, we're on a date and we're like, yeah, like, I'm so great. Like, I'm this girl and I'm doing all these things. Yeah, like, I'm so chill and so cool. And then you get with them and you're in a relationship now and shit is bothering you and you're like trying to come out of your shell a little bit and you're like, fuck, this is not who I am. Like, I totally put on this wall and I put on this show and I created who I'm not, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And you know, maybe I created that. You know, thinking about it, I'm like, shit, did I do that? But like, obviously we can't put the blame on the whole blame on somebody else, on the other person that's involved. But, you know, looking inward, I really hope that I didn't make myself out to be this different person. Like, I really hope. But at the end of the day, I convinced myself that it wasn't me, so. No, but we it's true. Like, we really do want them to like us. It's human. It's natural. This is life. We want to attract them. That is human nature. That's also the circle of life. That's what animals do, you know, with the fucking feathers and shit. They put on a show. It's not weird. Okay, you're not weird. You're not different. This is normal. But the grief that you feel is individual. And I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Because it really sucks. This is terrible. And whether you grieved them during the relationship, whether you spent years grieving it, whether it's a breakup you didn't want to happen, whatever the case may be, I was in a situation where I kind of ended things, and it was kind of a mutual agreement, but I was the one that officially ended it. And it's really hard to admit to yourself that you did the right thing. Also, I think that's a big thing. I think it's confusing to know if you made the right decision because you'll go back on it. Don't go back on your word. Stand on business. But knowing whether you made the right decision is also very confusing. And obviously you made the decision for a reason. If you were broken up with, they broke up with you for a reason. They do not want to be with you. Do not beg for them back. Because you don't want to be with somebody who cannot commit to you, right? You don't want to be with somebody who does not want to be with you and will break your heart in the process. Because who knows what they would do? If they're willing to hurt you and they're willing to sit there and watch you beg and watch you cry and watch you be sad over them and what they've done to you, that is not love. It's not love. It really is the opposite. It feels like hatred, doesn't it? You're sitting there and you're watching me bawl and cry to you about how much I want you and how much I want this to work. And you're not willing to do it. You don't want me. And you don't want what I have to offer. That's obvious. So stand up, your little pretty ass, and walk your ass out the fucking door because they do not want you. Simple as that. I mean, it's not simple. But to put it in simple terms, accept who they are. Accept who they show you they are to be. No matter how hard it is, and I know it's hard, you have to accept the person as they are. And that's the thing that I think bothers me so much about the creating expectations of somebody in a relationship, or like putting them in a box, putting them in a mold that they're not, is that we all, every single relationship that we're going to have, friendship, parental, romantic, whatever the case may be, we have to accept that person in our lives for who they show us to be. Because you cannot expect somebody to turn around one day and be better than they were yesterday, change in a day or whatever. You cannot expect somebody to show up at a party or show up at an event and be a little bit better than they're used to being. You cannot expect them to turn out differently. You cannot expect going to the same job that you hate so much to be different. You cannot expect a different outcome from a repetitive task, from a repetitive situation. That's the definition of insanity, isn't it? But doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. You can't expect somebody to be different. And if they're showing you exactly who they are, and they're proving to you that you know who they are, and they're proving to you that they're a terrible person, right? If they're proving that to you, take what they say for granted. Take what they say and use it to your advantage by leaving. You hear that? You see how they're acting, and you move the fuck on. Because my husband, will not act like that. My husband would not expect me to dim my light for him. And that goes in whoever you're interested in, but that's the case. So we're going to grieve that. We're going to grieve everything that I just went through. Who they are, who they expected us to be, all of it. And there's a lot of emotional chaos in that. There's a lot of chaotic energy. And relationships bring about a lot of chaos because it's confusing. It's a confusing time. Nobody really knows how to treat each other. And if you do, I applaud you. Life is hard. Relationships are hard to deal with. And emotions are difficult. And a lot of us don't even know how to handle our own emotions. And then we're getting into a relationship with somebody and we're like, oh great, now I have to handle this other person's emotions. That's one of the main reasons why I haven't really wanted to open myself up to relationships, is because I'm going through a stage where I need to be emotionally present for myself. There's no room for somebody else right now. There's no room. And that's, I think, why a lot of people shouldn't have children, because, but that's a whole other topic. Anyway, that's stage one. Emotional chaos, grief, terrible. Stage 1 is not the ideal stage, right? Let's move on to stage 2. Now, stage 2 is going to be our physical glow up. It's going to be doing our hair, doing our nails, doing our makeup, doing, all the girly stuff. If you're a woman watching this. If you're a man, doing your hair, being groomed, groom yourself, take a shower, being hygienic. No, but in all reality, do things that make you feel good about yourself. And that could be doing your makeup or doing your hair, doing your nails, going to the gym is a big one. Eating differently. Because you can go to the gym all you want, but if you go home and you eat like shit, you're not going to look good. Unless you're in a calorie deficit, but there's that. You want to be able to transform who you are and become a better version of yourself. And you want to be able to feel good and you want to be able to look good for yourself. And not even for revenge, but so that you can be content with who you've created yourself to be. You want to be satisfied. You want to be content. And I know we're always going to want more. And that's human. That's natural. And that's totally something that I feel. But I don't want it to be dissatisfaction as well. I want to be able to accept what I look like and accept who I've created myself to be. And I don't want to be dissatisfied at the same time. And I just want more and more and more and more and more all the time. Because that is living in a state of lack and I can't not deal with that. But yes, so go to the gym, pick yourself up. I know it's hard, but I promise you, the best thing that you can do for yourself is move your body, start those endorphins up in your brain, get those endorphins flowing, because then more dopamine will hit, you'll feel happier, you'll feel better about life. You'll be able to go outside and feel the sun and put the sun on your face and put the sun on your skin. Open your eyes wide. Let the sun in to your body and let the earth energy flow through you. It is different now. It's different now. Because you're not that person that you were when they broke up with you. You're not that person anymore. So now you can breathe. Isn't that amazing? Now you can go outside or you can wake up in the morning and you can relax. And you can breathe and you can let all of the earth energy flow and do its magic and give you what you're looking for. Which is just peace. Isn't all we ever want just peace, and tranquility, and love? But peace is my number one. So if you do all of those things and you prioritize something that makes you feel happy and makes you feel satisfied, for lack of better words, you will physically glow up. If you eat things that will nourish your body and will nourish your soul at the same time, physically, it's natural. It's inevitable. It is inevitable. You will glow up physically. And you'll look better. And there's a time and a place for, eating whatever we want or doing whatever we want and relaxing. Recovery, in a sense. But really prioritize how you feel. And that was a big thing for me, was that I did not like how I felt in my body. I would sit down and I felt very uncomfortable in my clothes, and I felt uncomfortable with people looking at me, or like they were judging me, or like I was judging myself 24/7. And at some point you just have to be like, I do not want to feel that way anymore. I'm sick of it. I don't want to hate myself anymore. And then you change. And I don't like that we have to hit a certain point to where we can't live with ourselves, to where that's the change maker. That's the thing that's really going to set us off. Let's not get to that point, right? But flowing through life and flowing and letting energy just flow through you and letting us just live life and knowing when it's time to change and knowing when it's time to grow, that's where the true money maker is. Number 3, we're going to mentally and emotionally level up as well. What I did was I went to therapy, and therapy has really just completely changed me as a person. I have learned so many things about who I am, accepting who I am, and loving who I am. And maybe I don't know myself completely because I haven't created myself completely yet. But being able to sit with myself and listen to my past and hearing things that have happened and hearing things that my parents have done or have said or, environmental factors that have affected me over the years, being able to sit with that and accept that and then grow from it and acknowledge it and respecting it and being responsible for what we've said and what we've done, that is the greatest gift that I could have ever received this year. And I'm just so incredibly grateful for it. And I know therapy is not for everybody, and I know a lot of people don't have insurance or it's expensive. There are ways that you can go about it. There are online therapy options. But if you can't, if it's not in your means, pick up a book. Pick up a book. Pick up a self-help book. I have read so many this year so far. I love Breaking the Habit of Being You by Joe Dispenza. I love Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert is an amazing one if you're creative. The Art of Not Giving a Fuck. That's probably my number 1 book of the year so far. And I just finished, let me go on my phone really quick. I just finished an audiobook on Spotify. Let me see, this has been one of my favorites. Joseph Nguyen, Don't Believe Everything You Think, on Spotify. The extended version, I love it. Go listen to it if you have premium. Amazing. But read more. Really enhance your vocabulary, enhance your education, read about things that you enjoy, read love stories, read historical fiction, read history, read nonfiction, read whatever you want. Really dive deep into what you like and what you don't like and all of the above. Just dive into life. Dive into things that make you who you are. That is the most important. So yes, if therapy is not an option, pick up one of those books that I mentioned and just read and write and journal. This will create a new mindset. You will end up creating an entire new mindset, an entire life. You will create a new life with this. Being able to journal and write down how you feel about certain things is just very eye-opening, because you will learn so much more about who you are and how you act and how you operate. Without doing that, you know nothing. You just know who you are on a day-to-day basis. But how does what happened affect you? How does this shit affect you? You need to create a new mindset over life. And I know it can be tricky. I know it can be negative, because I have been around that negative mindset my whole life. And I had that for a very long time. And I thought there was no hope for me. I was stuck in a rut and I thought there was no hope, especially in the gym. I thought that my body looked a certain way and I thought that's how I was built and I thought that was my forever body. It's not. But that's a whole nother thing. I just want you to know that this is possible. And no matter who you are, no matter where you are and how you feel, you are going to come out of this way better than you thought you were. So here are some reminders. Believe them when they say they don't want you, because they don't. And they're trying to tell you you're not listening. And if they take you back, you're going to be fucked. Genuinely. Become the person you seek. Right? So once we hit a barrier, or once we get over the bridge, once we get over the barrier of, going through the growth and going through the growth mindset and becoming a new person and whatever we wish to happen, and we're looking for somebody new, or we're looking for a new relationship, become the person that you seek. If you seek a certain friend, if you seek a certain partner, and you want them to have all these qualities and you want them to be this great person and whatever, become that great person. Because why would somebody want to be with you if you can't measure up to them? Also, why would you want to be with somebody who's better than you? Why would you want to sit there and feel terrible about yourself because you're not as good as them? You're not as hot as them. You're not as interesting or educated or lively or talkative or sociable as another person, as your partner. That'll just turn into resentment and hatred. And we don't want that. So become the person that you seek. Also, the last thing I want to say is act like the person you want to become. Because you create your reality and you create that person. So once you act like them, it's inevitable. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode or listening to this episode. I had a lot of fun making this one. And there's a lot to learn over time with breakups. And you are just going to see an incredible adventure happen. You're going to see an incredible transformation happen because it's inevitable. You are exactly who you want to become. You just have to start believing it. And you just have to accept who you are. And that'll mean the world will accept you too. I love you. And thank you so much for listening. Peace.